By the time the 2022 FIFA World Cup kicked off in Qatar, the pressure surrounding Lionel Messi had reached a level few athletes in history have ever experienced. At 35 years old, this was almost certainly his final opportunity to win the one trophy that had escaped him throughout an extraordinary career. Every conversation about his legacy seemed to end with the same question: could he truly be called the greatest player of all time without a World Cup? For years, Messi had listened to the comparisons with Diego Maradona, the criticism after every international disappointment, and the constant reminders that football's biggest prize still eluded him. Yet instead of allowing that pressure to overwhelm him, he embraced it. There was a quiet confidence about Argentina. The team wasn't built around individual stars alone. It was united by a shared belief that this tournament belonged to them. But the World Cup had other plans. Argentina's opening match against Saudi Arabia produced one of the biggest upsets in football history. Millions of fans around the world were stunned. Overnight, doubts returned. Critics questioned whether Argentina had peaked too early. Some even wondered whether Messi's dream was slipping away before the tournament had truly begun. Social media exploded with reactions, and suddenly every remaining match became a final. That shocking defeat could have broken the team's spirit. Instead, it became the moment that transformed their campaign. Messi refused to panic. In the dressing room and on the pitch, he projected calmness, reminding everyone that the tournament was far from over. It was the response of a leader who had experienced both triumph and heartbreak. Match after match, Argentina grew stronger. Messi began delivering performances that reminded the football world why he had dominated the sport for nearly 2 decades. He scored crucial goals, created opportunities for teammates, and dictated games with a composure that only the greatest players possess. As Argentina advanced through the knockout rounds, belief turned into momentum. Every victory seemed to strengthen the bond between the players and their captain. Messi was no longer carrying the team by himself. He was inspiring those around him to rise alongside him. His influence extended far beyond goals and assists. His calmness in tense moments, his willingness to fight for every ball, and his determination to keep moving forward became the heartbeat of Argentina's campaign. Meanwhile, Kylian Mbappe was writing a remarkable story of his own. 4 years after announcing himself to the world in Russia, he entered Qatar not as a promising teenager, but as one of football's biggest superstars. Expectations were enormous, yet Mbappe seemed completely unfazed. Every time he received the ball, defenders backed away, aware that a single burst of speed could change the game in an instant. France, despite dealing with injuries to several key players before the tournament, continued to prove why they were reigning world champions. Mbappe became their biggest attacking weapon, consistently delivering goals when his country needed them most. His combination of blistering pace, clinical finishing, and growing maturity made him almost impossible to contain. By the time France reached another World Cup final, Mbappe had firmly established himself as one of the tournament's standout performers. Then came the match that many football fans believe is the greatest World Cup final ever played. On one side stood Lionel Messi, chasing the trophy that had defined his career. On the other stood Kylian Mbappe, determined to lead France to back-to-back World Cup titles and further cement his own legacy. It wasn't just Argentina versus France. It felt like football's past, present, and future meeting on one stage. For much of the match, Argentina appeared to be in complete control. Messi opened the scoring from the penalty spot with trademark composure before Argentina doubled their lead through a breathtaking team move finished by Angel Di Maria. France looked stunned. Mbappe, largely quiet for most of the game, struggled to find space against Argentina's disciplined defense. As the clock ticked toward full time, many believed the contest was already over, but football has a habit of producing moments that seem almost impossible to script. Within the space of just a few minutes, Mbappe completely transformed the final. He calmly converted a penalty to pull France back into the match. Before Argentina could recover, he unleashed a spectacular volley that flew into the net, leveling the score at 2-2. In an instant, the entire atmosphere changed. Argentina were shaken, France were alive again. The stadium erupted, and millions watching around the world realized they were witnessing something extraordinary. Extra time brought even more drama. Messi reacted the way champions do. After relentless pressure from Argentina, he bundled the ball over the line to restore his team's lead. It seemed like destiny had finally chosen its hero. Messi was just moments away from lifting the World Cup. Then, once again, Mbappe refused to surrender. Another penalty, another composed finish, and suddenly the score was 3-3. With that goal, Mbappe completed one of the greatest individual performances ever seen in a World Cup final. A hat-trick on football's biggest stage is an achievement so rare that it immediately entered the history books. At only 23 years old, Mbappe had produced a performance that many experienced professionals can only dream of. The final eventually came down to a penalty shootout. Every kick carried the weight of history. Argentina held their nerve, while France faltered. When the decisive penalty found the net, the emotions poured out. Messi collapsed to the ground, surrounded by teammates who knew they had achieved something generations of Argentinians had dreamed about. After years of heartbreak, criticism, and near misses, Lionel Messi had finally lifted the FIFA World Cup. The celebrations echoed far beyond Qatar. Across Argentina, millions filled the streets. Around the world, even many neutral fans acknowledged they had witnessed one of football's greatest stories. Messi had completed his career in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. Yet even in defeat, Mbappe emerged with enormous respect. While France fell short, his performance ensured that the conversation wasn't solely about the winner. He had scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final, claimed the tournament's golden boot, and reminded everyone that football's next great era might belong to him. As the confetti settled and the celebrations ended, one fascinating question remained. Does winning the World Cup automatically make Messi the greater World Cup player? Or does Mbappe's extraordinary scoring record and his incredible performances at such a young age suggest that this debate is only just beginning? That question would divide football fans across the globe, and the numbers behind both players make the discussion even more intriguing.